You've seen it happen. Maybe in a grocery store, maybe at your sister's kid's birthday party, maybe in your own living room at 7 in the evening when everyone is tired and nobody has the energy left to be patient. A small child, completely undone, screaming, flailing, and somewhere nearby an adult, frozen between embarrassment and panic, trying every trick they know, bribery, threats, a raised voice, a lowered voice, a snack, a countdown, and none of it works. But once, somewhere online, a clip surfaced that looked different. A mother sitting on the floor, her son mid-meltdown, red-faced, fists clenched. And she did nothing. Not nothing in the neglectful sense. Nothing in the sense that she didn't fight the moment. She just stayed. Quiet. Present. Unbothered in a way that felt almost impossible. 11 seconds later, he stopped crying on his own. Not because she yelled louder. Not because she gave in. Because of something else entirely, something most of us were never taught. Something that has quietly shaped Korean parenting for generations, and something that, once you understand it, will change the way you see every meltdown you've ever witnessed, including maybe your own. Here's the strange part. Everything most of us were taught about tantrums is backwards. We grow up believing a tantrum is a battle of wills. The child wants something, the adult says no, and the crying is a kind of negotiation tactic, manipulation dressed up as emotion. So the instinct is to win, distract them, bribe them, punish them, explain calmly at first, then less calmly why they're wrong to feel this way. But here's the problem. The more you try to stop a tantrum, the longer it usually lasts. And that's not a parenting failure. That's neuroscience. Most of us were simply never taught. A tantrum isn't defiance. It's a nervous system overload. Somewhere between disappointment and exhaustion, a child's brain gets hijacked, the amygdala takes over. The part of the brain responsible for reasoning basically goes offline. Which means, in that moment, no explanation is going to land. No negotiation is going to register. You're not talking to a small, irrational adult. You're talking to a nervous system in freefall. And this is where it gets strange. Because the calmer the adult appears in that moment, the faster the child's brain seems to recalibrate. It's not magic. It's not even really psychological, not in the way we usually think about psychology. It's physical. There's a name for it, co-regulation, and it might be the most quietly powerful tool in the entire parenting conversation, and almost nobody talks about it. So, what does it actually look like? The first layer is something that looks, on the surface, like doing nothing. Silence. In many Korean households, the instinctive response to a meltdown isn't a flood of words, it's quiet, physical presence. No lecture. No use your words. Just stillness. At first, that can look like withdrawal, like giving up. But it's the opposite. Silence, in this context, is a signal, not an absence. It says, without saying anything, I'm not leaving. And I'm not afraid of what you're feeling right now. Think about that for a second because it's easy to miss how radical that actually is. Most of us, when someone near us is falling apart, feel this urgent need to fix it immediately, to talk them down, to solve it, to make the discomfort stop, mostly because their distress makes us uncomfortable too. But a child in the middle of a meltdown doesn't need someone to fix the feeling. They need someone to prove the feeling isn't dangerous. And you can't prove that with words. You prove it by staying. But this is where things get even more interesting because silence alone isn't the whole mechanism. There's a second layer, and it's about the body, not just the voice. Western instinct, when a child is upset, is usually to move in, pick them up, pull them close, wrap them in a hug whether they want it or not. It comes from love, obviously. But to an already overwhelmed nervous system, that closeness can register as pressure instead of comfort. Too much, too fast. The Korean approach tends to favor something subtler, staying close, often at the child's physical level, without forcing contact. present but not pressing. And here's the part that catches people off guard. The moment a parent stops trying to touch their child is often the exact moment the child starts reaching for them. It's a strange kind of math. Less pursuit creates more connection, which, if you think about it, mirrors something a lot of adults quietly struggle with in their own relationships. The harder you chase someone's calm, the further away it gets. Still, even this isn't the full picture. Because most advice, the kind you'll find scattered across parenting blogs, stops right here. Tantrum ends, crisis over, moment forgotten. But that's actually where the real work happens. There's a third layer, one that almost nobody mentions. A short, wordless ritual of reconnection right after the storm passes. A hand resting on the back. A moment of eye contact. Nothing dramatic. But without it, the child's body doesn't fully register that the danger has passed, which means the next meltdown often builds faster than the last one did, because that lingering activation never really settled. Now, it would be easy to package this as some kind of universal fix, a parenting hack you can screenshot and forget about. But that would be dishonest, and it would also be wrong. This approach works for emotional overwhelm. It is not designed for testing behavior or safety violations or moments when a child is pushing a boundary just to see what happens. Used on an older child who's being intentionally defiant, that same quiet presence can be misread as disengagement instead of safety. Cultural context matters here too. This isn't a script to copy line for line. It's a principle about what regulation actually requires, and principles need judgment, not imitation. Which maybe explains why it never fully translates into a 5-step listicle. It's not a trick. And the moment you try to use it like one, performing calm instead of actually feeling it, it tends to fall apart, sometimes making things noticeably worse, because a child can tell the difference between real steadiness and a performance of steadiness faster than most adults expect. And that's really the quiet center of all of this. Because the parent's calm can't be borrowed. It can't be faked in the moment for the sake of technique. It has to be genuine, which means, in a strange way, the child was never the only one being regulated in that exchange. Maybe the tantrum was never really about a small child needing to be fixed. Maybe it was about the adult nearby learning how to stay steady, quiet, unafraid of someone else's storm, long enough for it to pass on its own. And maybe that idea doesn't only belong to parenting. Maybe it says something about every relationship where someone we love falls apart in front of us, and our instinct is to control the moment instead of simply staying present inside it. If this helped you see tantrums or maybe even your own reactions a little differently, you can subscribe for more videos like this.